for daily Ask Reddit. Redditors who worked at defunct stores, Blockbuster, Circuit City, etc. When did you realize they were done for? Waldenbooks. When one of 2 registers caught fire, the fire department put it out, but rather than pay to haul it away, the company left it, a hulk of melted plastic, where it was at the checkout. The store closed 2 weeks later. How does a cash register catch fire? Lol. It's amazing how a place is full of books and the fucking plastic register is what caught on fire. I worked at Blockbuster. I was there when they started Blockbuster Total Access to compete with Netflix. You add movies to your account. They mail the DVDs to you. You can return the DVDs to any Blockbuster as soon as they scan them, and you'll get the next movies on your list sent out, so you didn't have to wait as long for turnaround. Even better, you were able to rent a movie at the Blockbuster for free that you turned it in at. It was actually a great service. You could get tons of movies, and it was really easy to get people interested in signing up for it. Foot traffic in stores increases. The amount of candy and snacks we sold increased. We even had an uptick in paid movie rentals for non-new releases, cause parents would exchange their movie for a new release and get a couple for the kids as well. Then they started to change it. Restricted the amount of movies you can exchange each month. Different plans had different restrictions on what movies you could get, how many new releases, etc. It became really difficult to explain to customers because there were so many restrictions in place. After a bit, you couldn't exchange a movie in store at all. Foot traffic died again, and the chain along with it. I did this for a few months. Had the 3 movie plan, so 3 movies at a time would show up. I would watch them and then return those 3 to the store, get 3 free rentals and watch those while my 3 new ones were mailed to me. I watched so many movies that I would have never rented otherwise. It was great. I actually got to the point I had trouble finding movies I wanted to rent, and when they started with the changes, I cancelled the plan. They closed up not too long after. Worked at Best Buy for a while, got fired, and then went to work at Circuit City. I knew it the second I walked into that store. 6 months later we were told it was closing. Best Buy constantly updated fixtures and layouts/designs. Everything was bright and new. I imagine that Circuit City looked exactly like it did when it first opened. It's crazy what a turnaround Best Buy has made in the last decade. When streaming started taking off with Amazon sales, Best Buy looked like a ghost town. Now it's always bustling despite all products being available online. I think they've really trained their people well. I've bought some high-end camera gear there, stuff I didn't want to wait for shipping/risk getting lost in the mail/etc. And I came in knowing exactly what I wanted. I just asked to look at it, they said sure, and I got to mess with it for a while with no hovering before I bought it. Another time I went in to buy a quick replacement phone for my wife. I asked for the model I had researched before, asked for the unlocked model, and was out in like 20 minutes. I worked at Lonester Steakhouse. There's not too many of them left anymore, if any. I worked an open to close shift one night by myself, had 2 tables, and made $12. I started a career elsewhere shortly after that, and 6 days after I left Lonester for the new position, the restaurant closed. The employees weren't told either. They showed up, and the place was shut down by corporate already. Edit. Did some follow-up research. Last one in the US. Closed in October 2019. Still one running apparently in Guam of all places. Guess I'll have to plan a visit. Get me a Texas Rose. Second edit. The Lone Star Grill franchise in Canada is not the same as Lonester Steakhouse in America. Just found that out. Lonester used to be really good. Keep in mind I was fresh out of college living on fast food. I went there for dinner towards their decline and got caught in crossfire of their employees throwing ice at each other. I worked in the warehouse at Sears in college until 2007 when I graduated. We were regularly running out of inventory and everything seemed like it had to be ordered in on a case-by-case basis. I was the person in the back that loaded the toolboxes, treadmills, snowblowers, etc. into vehicles. When you're running out constantly of your top revenue generating pieces, something isn't right. Also, they didn't even bother updating inventory. I had a friend there that walked off with a couple of big screens and nobody ever even noticed. I heard that they had a lot of shit stolen. My dad told me how Sears had a certain tool set that he wanted to buy, but they were always out of stock. When he finally asked why, the cashier told him that people would steal them all the time. Tons of stuff was stolen. I would hang out with a loss prevention team since their office was in the warehouse. The policy was that it wasn't stealing until they left the store, but they weren't allowed to apprehend them out of the store. They would watch on the cameras and then hope to follow them out to get a license plate number. I worked there for 3 years and only remember them catching 2 people stealing in that time. For those people, they had a car waiting outside the door for them, so it was easy to get a plate number and then the police would bring them back to the store later to ID with the recording.